I found like some really strange ASMR. Like there's one where it's like a bank robbery at gunpoint, but it's whispered, and you're supposed to fall asleep to that. It's uncanny, but people actually watch that.
On that note, I'm Paul,
I'm Steve.
And I'm Andrea.
and this is Check Your Shelf.
Thanks for joining us today, Andrea. Uh, this is Andrea from Infinite Text, also known as Eldritch Witch. For those of you who know and are in the know, thank you, Andrea, for being on. Infinite Text is the channel. Do you want to tell us more about yourself and your channel and all that good stuff?
Well, I've been on the YouTube for a while. I've been on since 2016.
Wow.
And when I started, it was kind of more like I went in with the classics, the literary stuff, and then there was a lot of like booktube sweethearts. Like everyone followed, Robin Hobb or a certain author for a while, and I just kind of like went with the flow. I wasn't sure where I was at, and then I followed the science fiction community for a while. I went to Worldcon, got really into sci-fi, but I was like, there's something just not quite me about this. Like, yes, something there in sci-fi, but like it's not quite me. And then I just ended up taking a 2-year break. I just wasn't feeling it, but I was really into like morbid macabre stuff. Macabre, sorry, I always pronounce the R. And then in that 2-year period, I sort of found weird fiction, and it was just that perfect sweet spot, of like overlap in horror, fantasy, and science fiction with this like spirituality realm. And Hodgson was one of the people too that like got me into it. I read him before my break, and I remember really loving his Ghost Pirates book. And then I got really into Weird Tales, and now I'm really into the weird. Like I think this is my sweet spot. Like I love it. I don't see myself leaving. And if anything, I find that now I'm looking at this whole weird speculative fiction realm as like, I'm appreciating it, but I can also like say, screw you literary folk for not appreciating how amazing this is. Like
Right?
this is Nobel Prize winning material right here.
You didn't leave the literary world. The literary world left you.
Yeah,
Yes.
well, I've outgrown them, is what I'm saying.
Outgrown them, yes. Hey, if you're really into weird fiction, I have a recommendation. For you. Where did it go? Anyway, here it is. Here it is. Thank you. There's this book called Weird Frequencies, Strange Stories by Stranger Authors. I think you'd really like it.
How do you spell that?
It's not wired as I first thought it was. It's weird, W-E-I-R-D, and it's edited by Jay Swick. Jay's a pretty cool guy, but it's stories by a bunch of really cool people. I think you'd really like it if you're into weird fiction. Just a recommendation.
I think it looks a little familiar, but I don't think I've seen it before. Are there any women authors in there?
Yeah, there's one.
Okay, good. Yeah, okay, well then I'll read it.
Okay, cool. Her name is Andrea, and she has a booktube channel, Infinite Text. It's called Last Rites. Yes. And the concept is cool. AI is running a funeral home. Really awesome. So you should check it out.
Do you guys write?
Yeah.
Are you going to be in a future anthology soon?
Well, that's the hope.
Lord willing, and if the creek don't rise.
Right. When Jake announced his submission thing, I'm like, I messaged him like, you are gonna get flooded, just so you know. And he's like, well, he asked me if I wanted to do something, so I hadn't written anything since my woke Western, but that wouldn't work. So I I wrote a story and submitted it to him, and I'm just sitting here waiting. And in the meantime, I've been writing a couple other stories on the side, and I was joking with I think it was Brian from Bad Taste. I'm like, no, it was Nick. I'm like, Jake screwed up because he broke something loose in me now. 'Cause I haven't seriously written since like the 90s. So it's been a lot of fun.
Well, it's the same thing that happened to me. I used to write, and then I got so like overwhelmed by so many stories that I felt there's no way I could ever do anything creative or add anything to the lore. And then Jake was like, "Hey, you want to write for Weird Frequencies?" And all of a sudden, I just felt like the spirit of creativity, just like
Yeah.
News showed up.
Are you gonna do a audio version of yours too?
I should get on that pretty soon, actually.
That
I
seems
haven't
to be
had
the trend.
time. Yeah. And I'm writing for the next anthology too. I'm doing a nautical horror, so it's
Nice.
actually heavily inspired
Love
by
it.
Hodgson.
Love
Nice.
it. I love nautical stuff. I love horror. So can't wait to read that. You know, there's this book by Pressfield called The War of Art, and he talks about the muse, and he's like, it's amazing how the muse doesn't just show up. It's when you start the work, the muse just then shows up, right? The universe aligns itself with you, but you have to be working.
Well, I didn't have any ideas for this anthology until Jake gave me a deadline.
Deadlines are magical.
Yeah, and I was like, I have ideas now.
I have told Steve time and time again, don't give an artist a deadline, because we will wait till the last day to do it. So deadlines are like great motivators.
Yeah, no, Jake said that he's already received many submissions for the next anthology, but I think he's gonna get a lot of submissions on like March 31st at midnight or something,
Yeah. I sent mine in as soon as it was done. I like out the door because I wanted to move on to something else.
Speaking of Hodgson, there's this little book you might have heard of called The House on the Borderland. And wow, you guys have physical copies.
you got the good copy. I got like the Dover edition, but this is my placeholder till I find a good one.
Oh, I ended up reading last February. I read it for the first time, and I read it from the British Tales of the Weird, because they're republishing some novels as well. And then that one had the introduction by Anne Vandermeer. And then Jake and Chris both read this edition, and it just stayed stuck in my head. And then I went to my favorite bookstore in Toronto, and they had it for $35.
Wow.
Yeah,
like
that's why I don't own it. But I paid like $27 for this book here. I'm letting the world know, for Clark Ashton Smith's Hyperborea cycle, and the only reason why I paid $27 for it is I've never in my life seen this in the wild. So I and it's in really good shape. So I don't regret it. But yeah,
I've been hunting down some of Clark Ashton Smith's stuff online, and I find them in the weirdest corners of the internet. Like some of them are on Etsy.
Oh wow!
Places.
I made this book for you. Is it like bedazzled? Like there's glued little jewels and different things?
You'd think, but no. And then yesterday,
Penguin has a nice edition of it.
Yeah, I have that one. I have.
Oh, do you? Okay.
But I was looking for like the older ones.
Sure.
But I went to a library 2 days ago, which is the books of Judith Merrill, and she donated all of her pulps and her rare art. And one of the rare art pieces that she had was this Clark Ashton Smith original.
Ooh.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
And they had it framed, so like you can see the whole frame here and his signature at the bottom. But I was so excited to like touch an original Clark Ashton Smith.
That's awesome. Maybe I'll go. It's at a library. Maybe I'll go check it out.
No, don't go check it out because you'll never return it.
Well, I'm going to use my daughter's library card, so it's okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So in this particular book, these two dudes go fishing out in the wilderness of Ireland, back when Ireland still had wilderness, and back when the Irish still spoke Irish. Like they couldn't even understand each other. I thought that was really fun and interesting. And while they're out on this fishing trip, they discover the ruins of an old, they're like, I don't know, castle, house, something. And they find this manuscript. And they read this old manuscript from like hundreds of years ago. And then the rest of the story is basically them reading this manuscript, so that it shifts from the fisherman to the first person tale of whoever lived in this house that is on the borderland, which is interesting. It reminded me of Frankenstein, right? Where a lot of Frankenstein is just this other guy telling his story, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that was the style in those days. That's kind of how they did that a lot back then, didn't they? In the early 1900s, late 1800s. Although Frankenstein was much earlier than that, even. But
well, it was a holdover from that, I feel.
Gotcha.
Well, so Frankenstein came out 1818, and then Hodgson wrote like around World War One.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And this one was like, I don't know, 1908 or something like that. So just before World War One, which they called it the Great War back then. I don't know what was great about it. They didn't call it World War One. I know that. So the dude that lived in the house tells his story. And his story is basically he lives there with his sister and weird crap starts to happen. He encounters these weird pig beings, swine-faced swine, and they're like in this pit. They come out of this pit and he has to fight them. He's good at fighting pigs. And then
for an old man, he's a crack shot and good at fighting pigs.
He should be a pig farmer, maybe. Then at some point, and this is why I started to get a little confused, but it's cool. The concept is cool where time starts going forward quickly to the point where the sun is like the sun and stars are whirring around so fast that they like just become these lines in the sky, and then he goes off into the future and discovers what the universe and the cosmos does in the future, ends up at the center of the cosmos, looks around his room, things are like in ashes and stuff because now he's seeing his house sort of crumble and age and everything. Then he makes it to what appears to be the end of all things, and then he kind of wakes up, and that's, to me, that was it, right? That was a really quick synopsis. I should work for Goodreads and be the person that writes the synopsis because I think I did a fantastic job. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, I think you're ready for TikTok.
Exactly.
I've been telling them that for years.
So what do you guys want to add to that? I purposely didn't want to get into too many details because it would take the rest of the thing and I would still forget stuff. Is there anything you want to add to what I just said? All right. So you said you first read this like last February?
Yeah.
Andrea? So have you read it more than once, or was that your...
Once was enough, but it was so good. Okay, so I read in like 2018 this book called The Ghost Pirates, which was written by Hodgson. And when I looked it up on Goodreads, it said that it's book 3 of a trilogy. And book 2 is The House on the Borderland. And then book 1 is The Boats of the Glencarrig. So I ended up reading them way out of order. I read 3, then 1, and then 2, or no, I think I read 2 and then 1. Like it was just completely out of order, but it doesn't matter because they're not really related. Yeah. There's no common characters or anything. The only common character is there's something weird out there. That's it. Like there's something weird out at sea and there's something weird and unexplainable behind a waterfall in a liminal space and all of this. Like that's the only thread that I could follow that would make this an actual trilogy. But when I read it and I got to the part where the character in the manuscript is having his trippy cosmic dream where he talks about planets and stars and dreams and all that, and it goes on for a really long time. That was the time I was like, I think William Hope Hodgson is the first person to realize that we have free will, because I would never write something like that and think that anyone might read it. And I'm actually very impressed that he was published, because I think at the time people were doing something else entirely different. And I don't like to have the courage to publish a book with a 50 pager of a cosmic hallucination.
Yeah.
It's just like, wow. But also to write it and not care about your audience or whether or not they get it or care.
Yeah.
And to just go for it. Like, I was like amazed, jaw on the floor. And that's how I knew I really liked him. And his nautical stuff is really great. Like, aside from the 3 novels, like, he has some short stories that are out at sea. They're all amazing.
Yeah, my first exposure to Hodgson was that what's it called? Something.
A Voice in the Night.
Voice in the Night. Yeah, that was my first Hodgson. And I was like, I like this guy.
Mm-hmm.
It's awesome.
That's about when I started reading them. Well, at least reading House on the Borderland was after adapting that story into the script for The Mysterious Traveler. What else does this guy have laying around? And so I jumped right, because I saw it was a Nightland. What's that? I think is what it's called. And I'm like, I pulled it off the bookshelf. I'm like, no, this is far too chunky. I need something small, just in case it's bad. So, Borderland was just the right size for me.
Yeah, and the Nightland is a lot like that 50 page of cosmic weirdness, but it's like spread out over a much longer period of time, and it's like a fairy tale. I read that one afterwards because that was my goal last year, was to finish reading Hodgson novels. So I got through it, but I still have to read some short stories. I have a lot left.
Mm-hmm.
Was I supposed to know that was a dream or a hallucination, or because I wasn't sure?
That's the thing, it's not really explained. It's like I would describe it as a dream or a hallucination, but like the way it's described is almost like this awareness of time, or that we're all here for a blimp. It's very like existentialist in a weird way. And it's like,
yeah,
I've heard multiple interpretations of it.
I enjoyed the concept, right? And I took it as like maybe he's going mad, or maybe this is really happening. But yeah, the last 50 pages, I was just like, okay, how much longer is this going to go on, and where are we headed with this? I thought this would be neat on an episode of Star Talk with Neil deGrasse Tyson, and they could talk about how much he got right about the universe and what's going to happen in the future, and how much he got wrong about it. And I just started going down that rabbit hole of what would an astrophysicist say about this?
You forget you're reading that, and then you forget that you're actually reading about a guy reading about a manuscript, right? Yes. So it's like the manuscript could be a lie. The whole thing could be a lie.
Yeah.
Great point. The pig people, the swine creatures, what were they supposed to represent? What were they supposed to be? I didn't get the tie-in of that.
Well, Hodgson has a lot of stories. There's one literally called The Hog. I think that one's a Carnegie Ghost Detective one. But he has a weird obsession with pigs. They show up a lot. And I had someone in the comments section who's the same person who recommended him to me in the first place. So I trust him. But he said to me that he believes because Hodgson went on actual ships and there were pigs to be slaughtered on the ships, that he might have had some sort of like, trauma or something, or it must have made an impression on him. And that was his theory. He's like, I can't back this up with facts. I just feel like that's one of the reasons. And I was like, you know what? I'll take it. I'll believe it. Because otherwise it's weird, right? Like,
it's kind of like how Lovecraft hated sea seafood and stuff like that. So naturally, all of his monsters were like tentacled and finned and stuff. So
Yeah,
maybe it's something like that. They're cool, whatever they are, though.
yeah. I just feel like the sister too, because the main character in the manuscript is talking about his sister being unwell and affected by the swine-like creatures. And I was always wondering, like, what's the point of incorporating another character in there? Like,
Yeah, she is kind of tacked on.
yeah, like why is there another person? Because usually when you have two people and one of them's going off, you're like, okay, well then this one is like our stable character, right? But then here it's like you get like, is he losing his mind and writing about it? Like, I don't know.
I did think that the sister was gonna completely fall under the spell of the swine creatures and then let them in. And
Yeah,
but he was able to keep her from letting them in. I think she was trying, but then that just kind of didn't go anywhere. To your point, that would have been an interesting. I was thinking, I was comparing it to I Am Legend almost. Like his project had become keep the swines out, right? And figure out different ways. He's taking pot shots at him. He's throwing big boulders at him. And then his sister starts to fall under their spell. And now she's going to let him in. And well, that didn't work. And I kept the swines from getting in. And now I'm going to go out. I'm going to drop some acid and go on a trip. And that's kind of how I was like, this could have been maybe 2 books. Like you could deal with the swine creatures, come to some sort of climax. He wins against the swine creatures, or he doesn't. And then I'm Bill right now, Bill Hodgson. Then I'm gonna write an essay about what I think it would be like to go into the future really fast. Because then it became just exposition, right? For 50
Maybe
pages.
we need to do a rewrite, like a retelling of the House on the Borderland told from the pig's point of view.
or told from the sister's point of view. There you go.
My brother's in the corner being very weird.
Dear Diary.
Instead of I Am Legend, it would be I Am Swine. So maybe that'll be my contribution to the next anthology. I am
Swine. 2 weeks.
Yeah. You only got to turn in the first draft.
It'll be awful.
Well,
it's like, why didn't you pick me? Your first draft was gibberish. Oh, look at that.
Okay. Yeah, this is Cthulhu.
Cthulhu. So clearly, since it's not a science fiction name like Kirk or Spock or something, the cat didn't come to you during your science fiction phase. Came to you during your weird fiction phase.
That's right.
Weird if it was just accidental, coincidental. Oh, hey.
I just always liked the name. Oh, you mean Lovecraft had a story about that?
Well, it's really funny because like on this part of the internet, like Lovecraft is almost mainstream, right? Mm-hmm. But in the real world, it's still like a very hidden, obscure niche, the idea of fiction. So when I go to the vet, I get phone calls like, hi, we have forgive me if I botched this. Cthulhu like
Chulu. I never knew whether to pronounce it until recently, Cthulhu or Chulu.
Well, we're not really supposed to be able to pronounce it. Like, I think it's described as like this, like kind of.
Yeah. I always took it as like if like a squid or a fish said a word, that's what it's supposed to be. But as far as Borderland go, though, to get back to it for a minute, I love this book. I especially like the beginning because Steve and I have talked in the past about that era where 2 men enjoyed each other's company in the wilderness, and that there was just something so perfect about that whole experience. And then they find the whacked out manuscript, and it does drag on for a bit long when he's exploring, being forced to explore time and space and everything else. But and then to come back to it just seemed like, what? Okay, so he was hallucinating. Or I tend to take everything in horror. I take everything at face value because I like monsters, so everything's even like some psychological horror where it's wasn't it, like when we read speaking of I Am Legend, when we did the Terror at 20,000 feet for what is it, Horror Mayhem. Like, was the guy crazy? Was there really a creature on the wing? In my head, yes, there was 100% a creature on the wing. So I tend to think I love the face value of things. And the way, then it ended with a nice little wrap up that there was two different writing styles, which I really liked, because you had the more the hiker, who was a little more together, and then you had the ramblings of the old man. I thought that was kind of a clever way of distinguishing the two apart from each other. But yeah, you could have there was like the time machine in this, and there was the last few minutes of 2001 Space Odyssey in it. But it just went like if 2001 Space Odyssey was Solaris, that's what you had in the middle of this book. But overall, I love this book. I just had to get that in there.
Yeah, no, and it's funny because when I read people like Hodgson or Algernon Blackwood, I feel like there's parts of me that's like, oh, this is like Solaris, this is like I Am Legend, and then you remember that this was written before all of those,
Yeah,
and the fact that like he thought about all of this and imagined it before it
yeah,
was like in the movies or anything like that, it's really cool.
yeah.
Like
The fact that he did this whole psychedelic head trip into space in 1908. You
mhm.
know, so there was no like to my knowledge, there was nothing to like that he would have read that, but you know what, I was inspired by it. So it's kind of like there was no rule for it, so he just put everything he could think of in it.
Yeah. And there was this like moment in Victorian literature, especially near the late 1880s, where there were a lot of fairy tales and fairy tale like legends, and then they would bring back medieval things as well. But fairy tales were kind of the thing. So you have Lord Dunsany, you have William Morris, and all these people kind of bringing back the fairy tale. And I think Hodgson does this too, but then he like does that horror spin, and I
Mhm.
agree with you because I also like to take things at face value. Like I want to believe so badly that it's
Yeah.
real. And I think the biggest slap in the face as a reader is it was all a dream,
Ugh.
and oh, this guy's just losing his mind, and like
Yeah.
just never mind him. Like I
Yeah.
don't like that at all. Like I feel so disrespected as a reader. Like how could you?
And it's fun as a reader though to read a story where the people around that person think that that person is losing their mind, but we know the truth, and that like horror that character is trapped in is a lot of fun. But yeah, to have it be all a dream is just I've thrown books across the room because of that.
Like Dallas, Who Shot JR? It was all a dream.
Yeah.
Uh, I will say that around 1908, during Hodgson's time, a lot of discoveries were being made in astrophysics about the nature of the universe and like where things are headed. So I'll bet he probably was aware of that and was inspired by it, because a lot of what I'm no astrophysicist. I don't even play one on TV. I would do a poor job of being Neil deGrasse Tyson's comic sidekick. Chuck Nice is good at that job, you guys. Anyway, he has a lot more subscribers than us, and there's a reason.
I would still watch it.
Yeah, thank you. But a lot of what he put in there is accurate as of that time. It's like how astrophysicists of that day would have thought, like the sun fading, going dark eventually, and there being massive mass at the center of the galaxy. All that stuff they had started to discover, and I'll bet he was inspired by that, because it seemed pretty accurate to me, at least as of the early 1900s. And by the way, they were pretty much correct too, because Einstein's this is for Nick. Nick, we're going to make this really boring for the next 3 minutes. Einstein's theories of relativity and the people who Einstein was inspired by and the work he was building on, like centered around gravity and those kinds of things. And And those astrophysicists were really using those theories of gravity to say, well, if that's true, then what else must be true? And they were making these predictions. And there's William Hope Hodgson going, okay, well, let me see what that would look like in a work of fiction. So that part was cool. I think and probably I put it on myself for sometimes my enjoyment of a book is impacted by my expectations. So I think my expectations got all set up to this being a I Am Legend type battle with the swine people, right? And then when we went off in this cosmic thing, I didn't enjoy it as much because I was like, when are we getting back to the swines? So
yeah. Well, the weird thing is, like, I found that in a lot of the Weird Tales people and Hodgson, like, I find their influence to be more from spirituality people, like the Rosicrucians in the ads, but like cults and like religion, and like I find it to be a bit more about that than science. Like, I don't know. I have no idea if Hodgson was in tune with the scientific community, but maybe that was something that was like everywhere, like on the news or something.
good point.
Like,
Good point.
it must have just been in the air. I don't know. Yeah, and just to go back a little bit to what we were saying earlier about, when you have a character and then they're considered crazy by other people, and then we know that they're not crazy. I always think about it like, but that's his reality, right? Like, if your reality is made up of memories you've had, and all of your memories, whether you hallucinated them or not, like if you hallucinated that your house is on fire for 2 days straight, that's now part of your memory bank, and it's part of your reality, Like, I'm sounding like that aliens guy. Like, you know what I mean, man? Like,
not aliens, but it's aliens.
yeah.
Well, I mean, that's why they say, one bad mushroom trip, can really affect you for a long time.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of mushrooms, he was obviously affected by fungus, because with the fungus that attacked his dog and him, and the fungus from Voice in the Night, it's like this man had a fungus phobia or something, or understood the absolute creepiness of fungi.
Never serve him pork chops with mushrooms. He would not like that meal.
I think it was in The Boats of the Glencarrig, the first novel, that was like they get to this like island in the middle of nowhere, and when they get on the island, there's these giant mushrooms everywhere.
That was definitely in Voice of the Night as well.
Yeah.
I had this question: Lovecraft and Hodgson. Which one came first?
So Hodgson came first.
Okay.
And Hodgson wrote first. And there's this essay book that Lovecraft wrote where he kind of does an assessment of horror and the supernatural. And in that, he says that he loves William Hope Hodgson's writing. And he says meh to his other kind of works, but The House on the Borderland was his favorite.
And it shows.
It makes sense. Yeah.
It shows. Cool. So he was definitely inspired by that cosmic horror.
Cool.
Yeah, and when we think about inspiration, like I've talked to people about this, about how, like, because of Lovecraft, we have what we have for horror now. We would not have the horror we have now without Lovecraft, and that honestly kind of boils down to Stephen King. So between King and Lovecraft, there was a couple of decades, but when you're talking about the Hodgson to Lovecraft, there's only a couple of years. So these guys were feeding off of each other so fast that it's in a very short amount of time, like say 20 years, like horror just developed into something completely different from, your Victorian, your Frankenstein and your Dracula to, the cosmic dread, So to me, it's just fascinating how fast it happened.
Yeah. I don't know. I always get like bogged down by the definition of genre, and I got in an argument with Nick about this actually, because he hates the term speculative, because he says, speculative can mean anything. And I think he's right, actually, because You could just write a literary novel that's historical fiction about World War One with real people about real events, but you're speculating about what happened or speculating about what was said. So like it makes sense to be opposed to that. But when you try to define a subgenre like weird fiction or subsections of the weird, you start to really look at like, what makes Frankenstein science fiction versus weird fiction? Well, it's like, well, you have technology in the involvement of technology rather than magic systems, so therefore it's not fantasy, but because it's technology, it's technically the first science fiction. But it's like you could also make the argument that it's weird. You can make the argument that it's literary. You can make the argument that it's feminist. You can do all kinds of layering if you want. But it only helps when you try to define the little guys, like the subgenres. But like I can't get too bogged down on definitions because then like what's the point? Like you'll ruin it. You'll ruin the fun.
I'm all about ruining the fun. I like to take a book and make it as boring as possible. And so for the rest of this video, which is only going to last another 3-4 hours, we're just going to talk about the definitions of subgenres of genres. I don't understand the argument about speculative, though. If he's saying that by definition all fiction is speculative because you're speculating what might have happened, I think that's a little bit, is the word pedantic? Pedantic? I'm not sure what the word is.
What? I'm trying to get Nick to do a live stream so we can talk about it. I think it would be a fun conversation to have with Nick. I don't want to put words in his mouth because, I think it came up because I pulled out this chart and it was speculative fiction umbrella. And then it had some Venn diagrams where it was like science fiction, fantasy, and horror. And then in the middle was weird fiction. And then all of the other circles had all these different labels like solar punk, steampunk, all the little subgenres. And then he's like, I disagree with the speculative umbrella. And I'm like, I don't know.
The whole
like
thing falls apart.
Yeah.
Well, isn't speculative supposed to be like I don't know. I don't understand his argument because by that definition, the word speculative couldn't show up anywhere in fiction, right? Because you're like, well, all fiction's speculative. So even if it's about real people, you're still speculating. It's like, no, we know how real people work. You know? We don't know how it would work if they had some
I am very hesitant to put words in Nick's mouth because I don't want to be accidentally saying the wrong thing.
Yeah, you don't need to.
I remember he didn't like the word, and I think it'd be fun to have him explain it.
I'll put words in Nick's mouth. Nick doesn't understand speculative fiction at all because of what he said that time that I wasn't there. What else did you guys want to say, but we just didn't get to it about this book, about Hodgson in general, or anything else?
I don't have anything to add. I do own one Arkham House Hodgson, and this is called Deep Waters, and it's from 1967. I want to get my hands on the Arkham House on the Borderland, but that one goes for hundreds of dollars, so might have to rob somebody.
Does your cat have its own voice and stuff?
Yeah. He's all right. He's a bit of a troublemaker, this one. Like every day he wants something, he'll climb on top of a shelf and start knocking down my books one by one until I give him whatever he wants.
Like a cat. Is this your only cat?
No, I have 2 tuxedos.
Okay.
This is Cthulhu. He's the little one. And then I have another cat named Humbert.
I have an important question. Out of 4 and 3 and 2 and 1, where do you rate this book? 4-star system around here, and the ratings
3.75.
3.75. Wow, you really like this book. All right.
See, I think for me, it's like I've read a lot of stuff that I liked, and I like it, and other stuff did it better because they came later. But I really like to appreciate the time it came out in. Like I think that counts for something. Like being the first to do something counts in my books as being a different level of creative. So that's why it got extra points. Because otherwise it would probably be like a 3, like it's not perfect. It's not wow. But given the time it came out, and I think that makes a huge difference.
Yeah. Well, like Ricky Bobby said, if you ain't first, you're last.
That doesn't even make any sense. I mean, there's second, there's third. Hell, there's even fourth. I would you have swayed me a little, Andrea, because I would have given it like a 2.5 or 2.73, but I think I'm going to go with the 3 because I didn't fully appreciate that context, and I agree with you. I think it matters. Like when you read the original of something, it counts for something that they came up with that. He came up with that from whole cloth, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna agree. I'm gonna go ahead and agree with that. I'm not quite 3.75 there, but maybe a 3, and I'll probably reread it at some point now that I understand it better with that context. So maybe my rating will go up next time I read it. What do you think, Paul?
It's a 3.5 for me. It's just I love it to death. It's just a bit too long in the cosmicness.
Cosmicuity, I think, is the correct word.
Okay.
All right. Well, we're not going to do any better than that.
Nope. Then having said all that, I'm Paul.
I'm Steve.
I'm Andrea.
And the next time you're looking for something to read,
check your shelf.
it's funny that when people try to participate, because half the time we have things we do, but we never necessarily do them the same way every time.
Well, you held up the book so close, I thought I was supposed to read it.
Oh.